Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls. Welcome to Tales with TR. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. Back at it, back in the swing of things. Thanks to Isaac Cragton for popping on my pod last week. Up and coming actor, great guy, Shoresy star of season 4. You'll see more of him, Shoresy fans, as season 4 evolves. That I can guarantee you. And tomorrow we're gonna have Dave Hansen, one of the Hansen brothers. We're gonna talk Slapshot. We're gonna talk 70s puck. Well, we're gonna talk a lot of things. Dave Hansen, not everybody is aware, is father of Christian Hansen, who had a stint with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, he played pro hockey for many years, but played on the Leafs for a little bit. Now, the last 4 or 5 people I've mentioned that to didn't realize there was a connection, but oh, yes, there is. Christian was born in Glens Falls, New York, which I believe is where the Adirondack Red Wings, yeah, it is, played there. Yeah, he must have been there when his dad won a championship in 1980-81 with Peter Mahovlich on his team, Ted Nolan, some big hockey names, maybe more, but I just remember that from, we did a speaking engagement in Sun Valley, Idaho, back in February, I guess it was. And I came in, and it was myself, the Hansen brothers, and Bobby Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers, famous movie producer duo. The boys are from Rhode Island. I think their first, well, you know, they're Kingpin. There's something about Mary, Dumb and Dumber. They got a bunch of real funny movies. They're either moderately funny or hysterical, and I believe they did a lot of writing and directing too. Writers, directors, producers, real great guys, and in extremely successful. I know that Bobby, I was talking with him, he went to RPI. He was a hockey goalie and just had an idea with his brother. I think the first one was Dumb and Dumber, I believe. Whatever it was, if I'm wrong, then whatever other one, and he, you know, they had confidence. They went out to L.A. and someone brought the rights to the movie, and all of a sudden Jim Carrey got on board, and one thing led to another. If I'm wrong, if it was There's Something About Mary, Cameron Diaz, whatever it was, they went out there. They had a script or two. Some big time actors were involved or got interested, and so Bobby Farrelly's career took off. But anyway, he has a place in Sun Valley, Idaho, and they raise money for the Sun Valley Suns, their local senior hockey team that need to travel. It's just there's not a lot of places close to Sun Valley that can make a competitive hockey team. There's not many places with any population whatsoever. Boise is not that far away. I'm guessing. Not guessing. I drove it a couple times. 3 hours, maybe 2.5. But again, Boise has a coast as a professional hockey team. They play teams, and I know Reno, Jackson Hole. There are teams that fly in from Boston, Chicago, and the like. But they raise money, as a pretty much all year. They're raising money one way or the other. And I was lucky enough to be part of that last year. But it was so wild because Bobby Farrelly was on my left, then it was myself, and then the Hansen brothers. And it was actually Jack was there, who turned down a role in the movie, but Dave's character is based on him. Dave was going to play Dave Killer Carlson first. This is all, it's hard to follow, but we'll get to the bottom of it tomorrow. But anyway, I met these guys, and they were fucking awesome, and it was surreal for me. Not to overuse that word, but that's the exact word to use. It was surreal to have Bobby Farrelly on one side and the Hansons on the other. And if we just talked about movies, there's between Slapshot and the Farrelly movies, there'd be enough there for me to, what's the word? Be completely intrigued by and have questions for 5 or 10 hours. But the hockey side of it is really interesting. And Dave Hansen played in the Minnesota Fighting Saints. Those of you that listen to my dad come up and speak, and it was just a few years after. And they all I believe he went to camp with all of them, but in any case, they were well known in pro hockey, and they were. It was the Carlson brothers, and then Dave Hansen is who plays the Hansons in the movie, and they were great hockey players. You know, each one of them played in the WHA or the NHL or both, and really put up numbers. Like in that year, I believe Slapshot is based on the 74-75 Johnstown Chiefs. In the movie, it's Charleston, but it all takes place in Johnstown. And the boys had 246, 249, and 250 penalty minutes, respectively. And played regular shift and then some. So they were, that was, I guess, the North American Hockey League at that time. But they all moved up the ranks and, of course, became, oddly enough, achieved lifelong fame with the persona of the Hanson brothers. But each of them were real accomplished professional players, and I don't know that side of it gets spoken about a lot. Even that night we were there, and the point was, before the movie, we all got up on stage and spoke a little bit, and then we watched the movie together, and after the movie, had a Q&A with the Hansons. I mean, I was there, I suppose, to be a little bit of a moderator, to speak. I had questions for Mr. Farrelly and, of course, for the Carlsons and Dave Hansen. But we could only get to so many. Like, it would seem like an hour is a lot of time to work with when it comes to that. But, man, we didn't even really get off the ground when it came to their careers. There was a couple of questions that we touched on, but I'm talking like Dave Hansen had a more than decade-long career littered with professional championships, appearances in the NHL with two different teams, in the WHA, which was a rival league at the time of the NHL. Very, very long, accomplished career, whether he ever fucking stepped foot on camera in Slapshot or not. Now, Slapshot, of course, is probably the most interesting part of the story for a lot of you Shoresy fans and a lot of you hockey fans, a lot of you movie fans. So I'm not going to brush over that stuff, but we are going to get a little deep. I think Dave said he can come on for a half hour or 35 minutes, so I'm really looking forward to that. And if you're listening to this with just me speaking into a microphone, it'd be idiotic not to listen to me speaking into a microphone with Dave Hansen on the other end of it. So please enjoy, listen and enjoy. It hasn't taken place yet, but this guy is really interesting. He had me laughing. He had me goosebumps, and at times almost crying. These stories are just wild. And if you're a hockey fan or a movie fan, like I said, you'll love Dave Hansen coming up tomorrow. Now, I've had a bunch of hockey questions from a bunch of you guys that listen. They range from the Rantanen trade to whether I think Boston Bruins, of all teams, are going to be buyers or sellers. To, do I think Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard are the best duo in the NHL? What do the Leafs, or what are they going to trade for? There's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of content. So look, I'm going to get to all those, and I did earlier this evening, actually, on the Jason Greger show. We tackle all kinds of questions like that. And I will get to the odd one, but if you really want to know a lot about current trends and modern topics and opinions in hockey, listen to me on there. We have some unfucking believable guests. It's Sports 1440 AM radio in Edmonton. It's the Jason Greger show, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's an awesome show. They were previously affiliated with TSN. It's all the same people without the TSN tag, I believe. I mean, for the most part. But, guests from all over the sports world, not just the hockey world. And some are absolutely mesmerizing, and I'd probably never get them onto this podcast, but we have them on Sports 1440. So if you want a lot of these questions, I promise you I'll tackle there. I have a section on there called Tales with Tiara, Ryan's Rant. And a couple that I just mentioned are definitely going to be answered on there. Now, this question I have from Calvin. So Calvin wants to know. He's from Quebec. And am I going to be at the Four Nations Cup? And what do I think of it? What do I think of it? I'm going to think, okay, I've answered this a couple of times. I'm going to go. I really hope I see some passionate hockey. I'm going to be wearing the Canadian red and white, and I'm going to be taking it in as any hockey fan would. And I'm excited to see all these awesome players play together, especially watching guys like McKinnon and McCarr and Crosby and McDavid all play on, and then some, all play on one team together. And that's just the big names that popped into the top of my head. Seeing how a guy like Brad Marchand fits into that mix, which is always interesting. Seeing, who are they going to pick? They're down a D. I'll get to that in a second, but maybe if it's Drew Doughty or Zach Hyman. I mean, who is there anybody going to be added to the team that has been a topic of conversation over the last few months? Now, the reason I'm saying that is because here was my hesitancy at the event from the beginning. I don't understand why there's only 4 teams. Latvia beat Canada in World Junior. The point of that, because I mentioned that before on here, and I get all kinds of emails. Latvia would never last against Canada. No, I know they wouldn't. On a senior, on a adult level, I know that. But my point was that teams can be upset, and you can't tell me that's again. I understand Russia aren't in it. Call it Team World. I don't know, and have 10 Russians, right? And then a guy like Draisaitl who's got no team. You can't tell me the Slovaks and the Czech can't put a team in. I refuse to believe that. Again, look at the 87 Canada Cup. There were teams in that you might say, weren't deep. You probably figured it was going to be Canada-US in the final. But just have more people than not represented, or I was going to say have everybody represented. That's impossible. But right now, you got like 2 of the 3 top scorers wouldn't be there. And that's just by structure. I think 4 of the top 10 as of now, a lot of the best goalies. So I don't from my perspective, the NHL has had years. We've wanted best on best for years. I can't really call it best on best if a lot of the best aren't there, if you've only got 4 teams, right? And because of that, I don't know if it's like we being the hockey world, whatever, had when was the last time? 2016? And wasn't McDavid on the young guns? He wasn't even old enough to be playing on a Team Canada yet. That's how long it's been. It's been a generation. It's been almost a decade, right? So I guess a decade because it's the 10th year. So we've all that time to think, and now we're going to cram this in right before the Olympics, which are happening next year, right? Pietrangelo dropped out today. Do you think that would happen if it was the Olympics? No, it wouldn't. And I'm not even so sure that if it was a summertime World Cup or Canada Cup, whatever you want to call it, and all those teams weren't represented, that they'd do the same. It just seems more like the All-Star game. Now, I know it's subbing in for the All-Star game. I get that. And maybe there's only so much, and maybe even if it was half-ass and there's 4 teams, it'd still be a better alternative than the All-Star game. And I 100% agree with that. But whenever you say, okay, Matthews and U.S. are going to be playing McDavid in Canada in Montreal in February, peak of the hockey intrigue season, just coming up on the playoffs, and now you're going to hit me with the best in the world or the best in Canada, at least Finland, Sweden, and U.S. playing against each other? Of course. So fans, I think, are going to be going mad. If you ever did see, if you're listening to this and you're not Canadian, fine. But if you're in a country that celebrates hockey, think of a game for all the marbles that's packed. And if you're from a non-hockey playing country, check it out. I don't know. I say 87 Canada Cup. It's dated, but it was just when Lemieux played with Gretzky, and it was an iconic goal that Lemieux scored. 72, Paul Henderson, you could say the same. I mean, that was a made-up tournament too, but it meant a lot. You could find context and storylines within. Now we got guys bailing. Now, I had this opinion before Petrangelo bailed. And that is, I'm worried. The NHL, I think, has set themselves up here for disaster because fans are going to be there going mad. We're going to treat it like I'm going in Montreal, like it is the 87 Canada Cup, or it is the World Junior Final, or it is the Canada Cup Final, right? I think people have been starved for this for so long that you're going to see flags. It's going to be packed in warm up. You're going to hear cheers. Now, if the Olympics were a 10 and last year's All-Star game were a 1, on that scale, where's the passion gonna, where's it gonna land there? And Petrangelo was the first, I don't doubt, but we see more people bailing out just as a precautionary reason. And if that's the case, already there's a big egg on the NHL's face. Now, what if someone gets hurt? What if McDavid gets hit in the fucking ankle with a slap shot? Okay? And has to miss the rest of the season. I hope it doesn't happen. And in any tournament, you're risking that. Yes, you're risking it in the Olympics, and you would be risking it in the World Cup. But this just seems so put on with only 4 teams wedged into the season last minute. We've been waiting for this forever, for a decade. And now, right like months before the Olympics happen, you're going to jam this down everybody's throat. Again, I love it. I don't even think I would see it the same way if there were just 2 more teams. I think you could make some kind of, at least Czech and Slovak, and then you could make some kind of world team for sure. I mean, in 2016, they had a Young Guns team. They had just show me something. Show me something. I don't know if I was a big fan of the Young Guns team, but I'm less of a fan of 4 teams combined, right? I just am. Because if someone gets hurt or people pull out or it's not at a high compete level, then it's going to look bad. And I just hope it doesn't, because I wish we had this every year. I do. I think realistically, you could have the Olympics every 4 years, and you could have the Canada Cup and World Cup every 4 years, and stagger them. So you got every 2 years, you have one of these events. We have. I don't know how that's not the case. All these inquisitive, smart, professional hockey minds that run things and stir the drink that is our game. It hasn't really popped into their heads to have that set up every couple of years, have one or the other. And I know it must have, and there's money involved in advertising and businesses and teams and schedules and all of that. I just think that this seems a little forced, and there's a lot that could go wrong. Now, I wouldn't have invested in tickets, and I wouldn't be flying up from St. John's, Newfoundland to Montreal to watch this if I wasn't completely intrigued. And as a passionate Canadian, I can tell you that I will be there with bells on, and I cannot wait to see our best take on the U.S. best and the Swedish best and the Finnish best. I just think that it has the chance to be a little bit of a cheesy popcorn-like event, and I don't want it to be, and I hope it's not. So there you go. There's my feelings. Hope I'm wrong, and I hope nobody else pulls out. I just don't see it that way. Now, if you're going to the event, I'll see you there. Now, it's we're 20 minutes. And I'd love to stay here and answer more of these, but like I said, I will be on the Jason Greger show. Today is Tuesday. I don't even know what date it is anymore, man. The 28th, Thursday, the 30th. I definitely will be answering a lot of these questions and then some. I appreciate you guys for writing me and for attaching these to Twitter. And I really will get to as many as I possibly can. And we do a lot of that, like I said, on the Jason Greger show. So tune in. And one thing I need y'all to do for me, I really fucking need this. If you're downtown St. John's, I need you to check out Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Greensleeves, and of course, the Bull and Barrel. If you're going to go for a bite to eat, why not? Try Loose Tie, Blue on Water, Adelaide. By the way, Adelaide gave me a little gift certificate last week, went in there for a few drinks on my birthday. Thanks. Didn't forget about that. So check out Adelaide as well for drinks or food, and it's not a bad spot. right? It's not a bad spot. I'm not just saying it because they gave that to me. What I love about Adelaide is that they play the music loud while you eat. A lot of people don't like that. I fucking love it. And they play good tunes. Oh yeah, and Wedgwood Cafe, of course, if you're going to go for a bite to eat. Loose Tie, Blue on Water, or Wedgwood Cafe, who also do catering. You want to work out, strength, balance, body, mind, go to Ryan Power, Rope Walk Lane, Power Conditioning. Awesome guy, awesome trainer, and awesome friend. Mr. Lube, 2 locations right here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One's on Kemount Road, one's on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, lube. Also, check out the Carpet Factory while you're at it, and Crown Cabinets, who didn't give me a slogan yet, but I just love Crown fucking Cabinets. Check it out, Crown Cabinets. The cabinets that should be crowned for being so damn good. Pitbull Pain Relief Paint Sticks just don't quit. Go to pitbullpainrelief.com, see what all the fuss is about. Muggsy jeans are fucking awesome. I love it. I love the stretch. I love the comfort. I love the fit. Muggsy jeans. Stretchy, comfy, Muggsy. I loves me some Muggsy jeans. True Hockey, take what's yours. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Next time you hear this voice, it'll be alongside Dave fucking Hansen. Can't wait. Catch you guys on the rebound. Thanks again.